Hey, this is Mr. Ward, and this is your Algebra Do Now 29.1 video key for B block, and here we go. So what x values would make x minus 7 times x plus 8 equal to 0? Well, just one of these factors has to equal 0. So if we could find some way to make x minus 7 equal 0, then the whole thing would equal 0. Same thing with x plus 8. Well, the x value that would make x minus 7 equal to 0 would be 7. So x could equal 7 because 7 minus 7 would be 0. And x could be negative 8 because negative 8 plus negative 8, negative 8 plus positive 8, words, negative 8 plus 8 would equal 0 as well. So x can be 7 and negative 8 to make this equal 0. Okay, what about the x values for this? Oh my goodness, this is a cubic function. There's 3 linear equations going on here as factors. Well, if x was negative 11, x plus 11 would be 0. If x was 8, x minus 8 would be 0. If x was 20, x minus 20 would be 0. So x can be negative 11, 8, and 20 makes this equals 0. This is based upon a thing you already know, that something times 0 equals 0. So if you get the x-intercept, or the thing that makes this go through the x-axis, the thing that makes this output equal 0, if you get any of these to output a 0, then you will get the overall product as an output of 0 as well. All right, well, what is the y value at an x-intercept? Well, it's 0 because the x-axis is defined as a horizontal line at y equals 0. The y-axis is x equals 0. All right, so what do we get if we expand or multiply x minus 4 times x plus 4? So here's what we got to do. We got to start off, multiply the x times the x, so x times x. Then we got to multiply the x times the 4, so say plus 4 times x. Then we got to multiply the negative 4 times this x here, so minus 4x. Then finally we got to multiply negative 4 times 4, and we get negative 4 times 4, and we put all that together. Oops. Put it all together. X times x is x squared. 4 times x is 4x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. And then we put that together. And we can combine like terms. Well, 4x and negative 4x is a whole lot of 0x. We don't need to type the 0x. It's useful to know that it's there, but we don't need to write it in. So we end up with simply x squared minus 16. This has a fancy name. Notice that it is a difference because it is subtraction. It is a difference. And it's a difference of squares because x squared is a square and 16 is a square. This is an important structure in quadratics. So pay attention to that. Keep it in mind. Whenever you have something like a difference of two things times a sum of those same two things, or a sum of those two things times a difference of two things, what's going to happen is the middle term, this is going to be canceled out. You're going to have something like a 4x and a minus 4x. They're going to go poof. You'll be left with a 0x in the middle, and you just won't have a middle term. All right. What about when we expand or multiply x plus 1, so that x plus 9 times x minus 9? Okay, well, we're going to get, you might be suspicious that it's going to be the same kind of structure as what we had. And if you are suspicious, you're right. It actually is x squared minus 9 squared, which is 81. But let's make sure we see that it's true. Let's prove it. X times x is x. Okay, x times x, we got that. And then we got x times negative 9, so that's going to be negative 9 times x. Then we got 9 times x. And then we got 9 times negative 9. Okay, and we put all that together. Get the x times x is just an x squared. That's just a negative 9x. That's a positive 9x. And that's a negative 81. 9 times negative 9 is that. And then we can put that together even more. Negative 9x and positive 9x is just doodly squat. So that's just going to become a whole lot of plus 0x. And we don't need that. We don't need to write it down. So we just delete it in a second. So the 0x goes bye-bye. And we're left with a difference of squares, because x squared is a square and 81 is a square, and we're getting the difference of them. It's a very fancy name, don't you think? I hope that